Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com, and this is a Q&A for the Raising Your Money Vibration 10-part series. So it's an online course that's going to be starting in a few weeks' time. If you've missed the start, then everything will be available via video webinar replay. There'll be some teleseminars. There's also going to be some MP3 downloads, so you can catch up at any time. What I wanted to do now is just run you through some of the questions that I've had in terms of the program, how it's structured, when it starts, when it's going to be taking place. And I'm going to do this now because the countdown is on. For those of you who want to save a bit of money before we even start, the launch prices end this month. So I just wanted to answer the questions that I've had in response to the e-newsletter that I sent out yesterday. So first thing, I think, let's see, first question is, and this one, I'm going to have to be honest with you. The first question that I have here is, when is it? It's going to sound like an odd thing to say for somebody who's actually running the program, but I don't know yet because it's going to be 10 parts. We've got people taking part from Australia, America, Canada, Europe, and the UK. And so what I want to do is don't just say it's going to be at such and such time on a Wednesday evening, because then that's not going to be fair to all of the time zones. So what I'm going to do in agreement with the people who have signed up is we're going to vary the days and vary the times to try and make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to attend live. And there'll be times, of course, when it's the middle of the night in here or Australia or whatever, where you'll kind of just go, oh, you know what, I'll get the recording. So in terms of, in answer to that question, I don't know yet. I can't give you all of the scheduled dates for all of the 10 parts. What I can say is, if you've missed some of the 10 parts, if you're watching this retrospectively in a couple of weeks or a couple of months or even a couple of years' time, you will be able to then just go in and access the recording. But in terms of live, I can't answer that question as yet. So that's question number one. The second question I had is it a workshop? The answer to that is yes and no. Let me explain. There are two options. There's the 10-part series for people who want to, initially, if you're joining us live, you want to do it as an unfolding, where we're working on the various aspects, and I'm going to give you an overview of what those 10 parts are in a few minutes. And I recognize that not everyone likes to work in that way. So there's also going to be a one-day video webinar workshop where I'm going to cover everything that we do on the 10-part program, but it's going to be delivered in one day. That means you can attend the workshop, and this is a virtual workshop, so it's not that you have to come to my regular place that the jury's in. You could be taking part from the comfort of your own home, your office, from anywhere in the world, and get all of the information kind of in one go rather than doing the 10 parts. So that's a yes and a no to that one in terms of, is it a workshop? It can be if you want it to be. Number three, how is it structured? Now, in terms of the program itself, there's going to be some fair bits that are online, and one of the questions I also had, so let me just tackle that one as well. If I find the one that let's see, so just kind of find that one. That's one of the things that people have been noticing, so I'm just going to talk about that in a few minutes, but I'm also going to pull up I'm also going to pull up the Eventbrite page. I've just made that a bit bigger so you can read it while I get the page up. Let's see. Hopefully you can still see me. It shouldn't really impact what Facebook is doing. So one of the things that happened when I first launched this program, someone had signed up. She sent me an email saying, hey, Marilyn, I thought about signing up last night. That was a Tuesday, and I decided I was going to do it in the morning. She signed up on the Wednesday. She also had an interview that day and got a much better job, paying a lot more money. So she sent me an email saying, did you Huna the program? And I said, actually, yes, I did. Then had somebody from Canada send me an email saying, hey, you know, since I signed up for your program, these streams of income have opened up, and this is something I thought really was gone forever. So she's like, oh, this is working already. And then I was speaking to a client this week who also signed up, and he, out of the blue, said, Marilyn, did you Huna the program before we started? And I went, yes, I did. Why do you ask? He said, well, I've just come, you know, there should be a deal that's happening later on this year. It's going to be really big. And it kind of started happening after I signed up for the program. And that really made me smile, because my intention for the program was to have people, as soon as they sign up, start noticing changes and start experiencing the energy of it. And so I did Huna, the program, before I did the pre-launch, and again when I did the launch. I'll explain more about that when we actually get the program started for those of you who are joining us. But it really made me, oh, you know, once is interesting, twice is like, oh, that's nice, and the third time I'm like, now this is really interesting, that is the experience that people are having, because that's the intention that I set. So even if people aren't joining us right from the beginning, if they're not joining us live, the intention is the energy will travel, and we're going to talk a bit more about that in a minute as well. So let me just give you a very quick run through of what this series includes. And I've said, you know, listed part 1 to 10. I might vary the order of these depending upon where people are at, for those who are joining us in real time. But as it stands at the moment, because it's not set in stone, as I, you know, so but part 1 is clearing money beliefs. Part 2 is cutting ancestral, generational, and karmic ties. Part 3 is past life readings and clearing. So that's, you know, doing past life tarot readings and clearing the energy that comes up from that. Part 4 is a soul of money guided meditation. That one is an MP3. Part 5 is clearing negative emotions, limited possibilities, and judgments. So we're going to use a variety of tools for that. Part 6 is meeting the ultimate abundant version of you. So that's going to be a kind of timeline piece and FLP, future life progression piece. We've got the Huna Energy Clearing and Chakra Clearing. So for those of you who have joined me for some of my teleseminars and webinars, or if you've done the Angel Tarot and Huna Big Clearing Call, for example, that's the one where we're doing all the and doing all the Huna symbols. So we'll do a session on that. We've got part 8 is Ho'oponopono and some cord cutting, so you can cut some old energetic ties and connections. Part 9 is we're going to do a dedicated Huna and Access Consciousness session. This one in brackets, if you're on the Eventbrite page, is called Members' Choice, because it's going to be based around what you want to clear. So some of that I've got from the anonymous pre-questionnaire quiz that you guys have filled in already, and as people sign up I'll send you the, well actually if you sign up via Eventbrite it gives you the link to the quiz, so I'm going to draw it from there and also from our conversations during the webinar. And then part 10 is the soul blueprint ignition and realigning your money DNA. And so as I said, if you're just joining us a bit later in terms of the Facebook Live, it's going to be a mix of live webinars, audio sessions for some of the pieces, and MP3 downloads. So that's basically what the program itself entails and how it is structured. So that is that one. Next question is, and we've sort of talked about this, but I'm going to pull up an example which I want to show you, which I think will answer this question as well. That fourth question is, what if I can't make it live? This, what you can see on the screen now, this is from one of my lovely clients out in Australia. And this is one of the processes you're actually going to get as part of the training. I was testing the process out, so I went to my e-newsletter list. I said, I'm looking for some volunteers who are willing to give me an hour or so of their time. In return, they don't pay for the session. You guys who are on my e-newsletter list know the deal for this. In terms of when I'm testing stuff, I always look for volunteers. So she volunteered for the test version of this program, of this particular process. And this is the Soul of Money process. She's out in Australia, number 1. She didn't join us live, number 2. She just did listen to the recording after we'd done the live session, because I then sent the MP3 to everyone. And this is her description of what she felt just from listening to the recording. And I'm not going to read all of it. Actually, well, I'll give you, because I know sometimes if you're on a little device, you will not be able to read what's on the screen, and then it gets annoying. So let me just read some of it for you. So it says, clients as far afield as Australia feel the MP3 energy. And this is just from a recording. So she says, initially my third eye, throat, heart center, and solar plexus all felt compressed, and it was uncomfortable to say the least. After the first round of Huna, I sent the image of a triangle of fire. And what's really interesting about that, actually, let me grab it. I'll show it to you. When I flip the camera back on, I'll show it to you. What really made, when I read that, my eyebrows went up to the ceiling, because I'm like, oh my God. I opened with, in that first section, I opened with basically a red triangle of fire to clear the energy, like to burn away the old stuck energy, anything that was feeling blocked. And she didn't know, they wouldn't have known that, all that, because this was on a teleseminar, so they couldn't even see me. All they would have heard is you can't tell from that what the heck that is, even if you do Huna. And so that was the first thing that made me go, oh my God, that's a little bit amazing. Then she says, during and after the second round, I felt the pain being drawn out of my body via my heart center. What she doesn't know, and she still doesn't know to this day, is there's a symbol that I used to open up the heart and to open up the solar plexus. And again, I'm going to do that symbol, and this is what it sounds like. And you will know, and when I'm doing them in quick succession, that's all you hear. So there's no way she could have known that I had used that symbol either. So now I'm like, man, this is getting really interesting. She then said, I slowly began to feel lighter. My heart center opened up more than previously, and I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. As I'm typing the phrase, as if the light of my soul is now able to shine through my heart center comes to mind. And there's a really cool symbol that I use, and it's called the wave of light. It's seriously, it's just, as I'm getting goosebumps now, even as I reread it again, because I hadn't actually really clocked the sequence of this. Now that I'm reading it back to you guys, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because one of my favorite symbols is a wave of light that makes you gasp. And so once we've used the fire symbol, once I'd opened things up, did some stuff with the Avaiku, which is a Huna guise, I also use the symbol, which is a wave of light. So it kind of sounds like she's describing that. And then she talks about the third round with her heart center opening up and expanding into the universe. And there's one that I use for what you call the third eye and the crown chakra. And that's normally, you know, for this particular process, I use it towards the end. We want to clear the blockages first and then get that sense of universal connection. And the group had no idea about what was underpinning this. All they could hear was the that's it. So for those people who are asking, well, will it work remotely? What if I can't make the live sessions? What if I'm doing the recording? There's your answer in terms of how the recordings work. So hopefully that answers that. Somebody else had said, next question was, that's number 5, I'm on number 5 now. Does the one price include all of the 10 modules? That is a very short answer. The answer to that is yes. How is this different? So question number 6, how is this different from the 28-day e-coaching program? What I would say about with regards to this one and the 28-day e-coaching program is the 28-day e-coaching program, we're going to do aspects of that as well, because I love the program. For those of you who maybe joined me for it, you know what I'm talking about. Program is designed to cover off a number of different aspects, and the key difference is it's delivered via email. It's an e-coaching program, so every day for 28 days you receive an exercise that you take yourself through. When I first ran it years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I ran a teleseminar series to accompany the program, but for people who came in after that, you get the emails, you take yourself through the exercises, and that's normally in the form of a 2-page PDF and anything from 4 to 8 steps in terms of the exercise for the day. And so that's been fantastic. People have been able to take themselves through it. And so when with this program, I would say if I had to sort of define it, the 28-day program is more pragmatic and practical and maybe analytical, if you want to put it that way, in terms of looking at processes and strategies and coaching questions and food for thought and things for you to, and there are some guided processes in there as well. However, because you're getting them via email, you take yourself through those guided processes. With this process, if we think of it like the yin and the yang, this one I'd say is much more esoteric, as I've kind of just gone through in the list in terms of the soul and the DNA and the Huna and the access consciousness and all of that sort of stuff. And so I'd say they're a lovely complement, but different in terms of the approach of them. That's kind of how I describe it at the moment. And of course, once we get into it, I'll probably have some things to add to that. And this one, we've already kind of touched on this. Somebody just asked it in a slightly different way. Do the clearings work remotely? So we've just talked about that. Yes, they do. And so that's basic. I think that's all of them. Let me just make sure. So when is it? Is it a workshop? How's it structured? What if you can't make it live? Does the price include all 10? How's it different from 28 days? Andrew, yes, so cool. So those are all the questions that I've had thus far. If you've got anything else before the prices change, then put a note in this thread here. You can DM me, you can email me. Just bear in mind it's actually the weekend. I don't tend to look at emails or messages over the weekend. So it might be slightly tricky, but I maybe have a quick look-see tomorrow afternoon to see if there's anything, but likelihood I'll look at those on Monday. Let me get you the link, because as I said in the beginning, the clock is ticking with regards to the launch price for this program. And what I'm going to say, if you want to look at the detail that I was looking at, I'm going to put the link for both in. I'm going to put the link in, the bit.ly link for the booking. My suggestion is book using the bit.ly link, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Let me just paste that into the comments of this video, and later on I'll cycle back and I'll put them into the video description as well. And I'll just get the very long at the moment, because I haven't done a shortener yet, the Eventbrite. I would say have a look at the Eventbrite page for the detail in terms of what we're covering, what's included. But if you wanted to save yourself some money over and above the launch price, you might want to book using the bit.ly, bit.ly/money vibration. The reason being, you don't have to pay an additional booking fee, which you will have to do on Eventbrite, but your choice how you want to do it. So I'd say look at Eventbrite for the information, and then maybe book using the bit.ly link, because that's just a straightforward PayPal with no additional transaction fees. Right, I think that is it. I believe I have covered everything in terms of the questions that you were asking. So if you would like to join us, it will be fantastic to work with you. In terms of the start point, we're going to start in a couple of weeks' time. So you've got about 2.5 weeks before we start rolling out with the live webinars. Actually, let me show you that. That was one other thing. I didn't write it down, but let me show you, because somebody said, what's the webinar like? Is it Facebook Live? The reason I'm not doing it on Facebook Live is, I mean, the way you'd have to do it on Facebook Live is set up a private group, which I could do. I've got my membership group, which is a private group, and a couple of others. But what I'm going to do is run it on the video webinar platform. So this is basically what the video webinar, this is my back office view. You won't see all of this. What you will see is the PowerPoint slides, if for the segments where we've got PowerPoint, or if I want to show a video or something like that. You then see me in the video in the corner, but what you can see is my back office view, because then there's a conversation thread, so you can be in open chat, or you can be send me a question directly if you don't want other people to see the question. And I think that's important with something like money, because it's quite often a very private issue for people. I'm also going to set this one up so you can come into the webinar anonymously rather than it displaying your name, so you have that option as well. So this is what I see. I see the Q&A and all the threads. You guys see the Q&A threads as well for people who want to share publicly. But I also, that black panel has got nothing to do with what you'll see. That's my control panel. So basically, if you just focus on the white square, I don't know if you can actually see my mouse, but if you could just focus on the white square, you'll see the PowerPoints if I'm running PowerPoint. And if I'm not, then I will fill the screen in terms of video. But it's a closed private platform, as opposed to being doing it on a Facebook Live. And what it means then with the platform as well, people can log into that private space, watch the video replays and all of that sort of stuff. So that's how the majority of it is going to be delivered, and with a few of the teleseminars and a few of the MP3 downloads. Cool. And if you have any questions or queries, if you're watching this after the launch price has ended and you wanted to join, drop me an email, marilyn@transformationstm.com. Marilyn is Marilyn. Email at trance, TRANCE, as in hypnotic trance, formations, F for Freddy, FORMATIONS, TM as in trademark. So marilyn@transformationstm.com. The website is www.transformationstm.com, and you can see the spelling of transformationstm.com on the screen as well, together with the spelling of my first name, because it's one that people kind of mix up, and I have some crazy spellings. And of course, if you have misspelled Marilyn or trance, because it's not the usual way you spell transformation, I clearly won't get the email. And you can also, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can send me a DM. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can put a comment in, and of course you can put a comment in the thread. So thank you for watching. And if you know anyone who this program would be suitable for, or of course if you want to join us, that would be fantastic too, please feel free to share the link with people. That would be absolutely amazing. And for those of you who have already signed up and experienced the Huna magic, that is awesome. And in terms of the Huna, this is what people have said about the Huna workshop in terms of energetic, exciting, revealing, practical, massive value, deep, powerful, unmissable, inspiring, clearing, magical. So that all of that is what people, you know, the people who came on board and says, my God, it's already started. I'm already you know, experiencing changes just from signing up. There's going to be more of that runs as a thread through the entire workshop. So exciting stuff, really excited about this one. I'm really looking forward to it, and I really look forward to working with you all. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you to those of you who have signed up and taken part, and for those of you who will be joining us in the future. So catch you later. And the launch price, if you're watching this in real time, expires end of this month, which is going to be tomorrow. Cool. Catch you later. Bye.